Today's video was crowdfunded by a bunch of awesome people, and you can see their names on the screen right now. Thank you. Hey everyone, it's Lachlan here, and in this video I'm going to give you a first impressions review of the new Sony MDR-1A portable around ear headphones. And the reason why I'm doing a first impressions video rather than an unboxing video is because I didn't want to spam the channel with 2 unboxings in a row of the new Sony products. So this is going to be a bit of an unfocus, and again, this is, stream of consciousness based on 1 or 2 days of listening to this headphone on and off. So these are first impressions. I urge you to take them with a grain of salt, but hopefully they will be useful if you are considering buying this product during the launch window. Now, something I should let you know before I begin talking about this headphone: the headphone retails for $349 Australian dollars, but because I know someone who works at a Sony store, I was able to buy this headphone at a staff price. And I've been asked not to tell you what the staff price is, but I can let you know it was a substantial discount. Something that you should just ought to know. Anyway, let's start with the actual visual aspects of the headphone. Now, as you can see, it is very, very similar in visual design to the original MDR-1A. And I don't have that on hand to directly compare with at the moment, but I can tell you it's pretty much the same basic design. The one key visual difference is that the ear cups now have this sort of speckled finish on them as opposed to the smooth plastic. Sorry, we'll just let the camera readjust there. It has a speckled finish on them rather than the smooth kind of plastic on the previous model. Not a huge difference, but it has a nice sort of subtle texture that I don't mind. Overall, the MDR-1A remains a very visually attractive headphone, and I've always quite liked the way that the design blends elements from old Sony headphones with some new visual design elements, which is pretty cool. I'm still not completely sold on the red band that runs around the inside of these headphones, but it's not a huge thing. Now, the actual detachable cable mechanism should have been improved over the original MDR-1A. Now, if you remember, with the original MDR-1A, I'd find that the cable would sometimes rattle slightly inside the inside the jack. That doesn't seem to happen anymore, but if you have one of these and you do experience the same problem, leave a comment, because I'd be interested to know if that's been completely fixed with the new revision. The other kind of aspect of this headphone I should point out, and here's that lovely 40mm aluminium-coated liquid crystal polymer driver. But the other thing I should point out about this headphone is that it is very lightweight and extremely comfortable. It is a very, very comfortable headphone. The ear pads are just really soft and supple, and this is probably alongside, say, the Bose QC25 and the Bose Around Ear Sound True headphone. This is probably one of the most comfortable around ear headphones that I have tried. One thing to note though, the ear pads, or rather the ear cups, do remain quite shallow. So if your ears stick out, you might find that your ear pads will touch the back of the headphone. And I find that I have to wear the headphone slightly more forward on my head just to make sure that my ears don't touch the inside edge of the headphone. And if they do, what happens is that after an hour or 2 of wear, your ears will get sore just from having that pressure on them. Just something to note: if you found the original MDR-1A uncomfortable because of that reason, I don't think that issue has been resolved with the 1A. Now, in terms of isolation, I've worn this headphone on the train. I can tell you isolation is not fantastic. It's not, I would say, average or slightly below average, just because of the large ported design on this headphone, and the actual plastic materials are somewhat thin on the ear cup. It's not a huge biggie, but it isn't going to be, I'd say, the best headphone I could recommend if you are constantly traveling with this headphone. I'd be more inclined to recommend something like the Sennheiser Inferior or something like the Bose QC25 in that respect. Now, in terms of sound, probably what everyone wants to know is the bass improved on the MDR-1A? Because my biggest criticism, and criticism of a lot of people with the MDR-1A, was that the bass was quite loose, and it was more sort of upper bass and more kind of it wasn't the punchiest, it wasn't the tightest bass in the world. It could get a little flabby on the kind of low bass notes. I can tell you with the MDR-1A, certainly Sony has added more bass to the sound. So definitely there's more bass, it is tighter, but I can't say that it is still, extremely tight bass. I still think there's a certain looseness to it. And especially now because there's more bass, I think that the bass can at times sound a bit too boomy. It doesn't quite integrate with the rest of the signature as nicely as I would like. So in terms of bass, it's an improvement on the MDR-1R, but I wouldn't say it sounds competitive in that sense compared with something like the V-Motor M100 or the Audio-Technica M50X. I still think the bass is a bit loose. That said, it's still going to satisfy a lot of people, I suspect. The rest of the signature is still classic kind of MDR-1R. So it's still got that really diffuse, really laid back sound. It's got, this lovely kind of wide diffusion to the soundstage, which is really quite comforting to listen to, especially in the treble region. It's more kind of soft kind of feel to it rather than a hard S kind of S note sibilance. So that's gonna really work for you if you are sensitive to those higher regions. But if you've ever found the original MDR-1R to be too diffuse for your liking and not kind of aggressive or forward, I don't think the MDR-1A will be an improvement in that regard. Now, if you are kind of curious as to how the MDR-1A compares with the Z7, I can tell you that the Z7 is much more heftier towards the sub bass. I wouldn't say the Z7 has great sub bass extension, but it is still kind of more grounded, more visceral, kind of more, I guess, more emphasis in the lower regions of the bass where there's more rumble and kind of more the visceral notes of that sound. With the 1RA, it's more sort of upper bass registers. It does really well, I think, with electronic music. It has this sort of kind of wet, kind of like a fun sound to it, and but it's not the tightest. So my camera is running out of battery, so I should just say I think this is actually going to be a winner for Sony because it is a headphone that has, the original MDR-1R tuning, which was really quite a nice tuning, really pleasant to listen to. Now it's gotten more bass, so that's going to fix some people's kind of issue with the original sound of the headphone, and it's just a really, really comfortable around ear headphone. And even though I think the V-Motor M100 and the M50 are great headphones, they don't quite get it in terms of the complete package. Again, this is first impressions, so, I might fall out of love with this headphone at the moment, but I think this is actually really nice. I can see myself really liking this headphone. I think the strongest competition for this headphone is actually, strangely enough, going to be the Bose QC25. Which is a headphone that has a similar sort of relaxed kind of tuning, but it's more expensive. You do get, more noise isolation with the QC25, which is something that's worth considering. But that's the first headphone that comes to mind in terms of competition for the MDR-1R. MDR-1A rather. Anyway, I hope this has been kind of helpful. Let me know if you liked this kind of video or not. I don't know if I should do more kind of first impressions videos in the future. And thank you again to everyone who helped me get this headphone. Thanks to all my regular subscribers. You can talk to me on Facebook at facebook.com/LachlanLikesAthing or on Twitter at LachLikesAthing. And happy listening.